Once upon a time, imagine there was a group of people who were born and had lived their entire lives in a dark cave. These people were chained, unable to move their heads, and could only see the wall of the cave. Behind them, a fire burned, and the shadows of objects passing in front of the fire were cast onto the cave wall. These people saw only these shadows throughout their lives and believed that these shadows were their entire reality. For them, these shadows were their world. To them, everything they saw was the truest form of reality. For example, when they saw the shadow of a table, they believed that shadow was the table itself. When they heard sounds, they thought those sounds came from the shadows. They were completely unaware of the real world outside the cave. One day, one of these prisoners had his chains broken. At first, he looked around in confusion and fear. He noticed the fire and the objects passing in front of it, things he had never seen before. This was a strange experience for him, because he discovered that there was a reality beyond the shadows he had always known. As his eyes adjusted to the light, he realized that the shadows were actually caused by objects in front of the fire. This deeply shook his perception of reality and left him bewildered. Then this man went even further and dared to step out of the cave. When he first stepped into the outside world, the sunlight dazzled his eyes. Everything appeared blurry and incomprehensible to him. However, as his eyes gradually adjusted to the light, he began to see the real world around him. The trees, the animals, the deep blue sky, and most importantly, the sun itself. Imagine how he must have felt when he realized that he had been living in an illusion all along, and understood that the sun was the source of everything. Now that he knew the truth, he decided to return to the cave. Why, you ask? Well, that's a question you should first ask yourself. What is that inner drive within humanity? Anyway, this man who had seen the truth wanted to help the other prisoners in the cave. He wanted to show them the reality beyond the shadows. However, when he returned to the cave, the chained prisoners didn't believe what he told them. In fact, they reacted with hostility toward him. Inevitably, they treated him with suspicion and resistance. It was at this moment that the man who had left the cave realized that their perceptions were limited, and that what we call reality could very well be an illusion. In this story, the shadows in the cave represent the world we perceive through our senses. The chains symbolize our habits, prejudices, and ignorance, which constrain us. The man who leaves the cave represents the philosopher. The philosopher is someone who seeks truth, breaks free from prejudices, and searches for the light of wisdom. His desire to return and help others represents the responsibility of someone who has attained wisdom. Incredible.